Welcome, Mia Segal. We are in the presence of Somatic royalty today, ladies and gentlemen. Mia Segal was Dr. Feldenkrais' first assistant, a collaborator and associate for 16 years, after which together they trained students worldwide. Of Mia, Feldenkrais said, "With you, I have reached summits that alone I could not reach. The best lessons I ever gave were inspired by your encouraging gaze." And that is exactly why I say we're in the presence of Somatic royalty. Mia, it is a great pleasure to have you here. How are you doing today? It's been a year since I spoke to you last.
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you. And I'm very happy to see you. And here I am to answer anything you want.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be in your presence. I have so much fun conversing with you.
Same here.
Great.
Nice being with you. I had to wait a whole year.
As I said, when I get to California, I'll be knocking on your door.
Good. It will open immediately.
So the first question I want to ask you is, in terms of your connection with Moshe and how he was a part of your home life and unique in incorporating this work.
So it wasn't a teacher-pupil relationship, because it started as a friendship that we were introduced by Charles Neal, who came from London. And he came specially asked by Moshe to come, because at that time, our Prime Minister, Ben-Gurion, wanted to take this teaching, which he thought was very valuable, and to make it part of the educational system of Israel. So they were going to open that institute in Israel. And they came to ask me to come as an assistant in this work. So being politics, it never materialized to be an institute for the government, but it materialized for me to start working with Moshe. So I came to look at what he's doing, and it started more like on a just fun basis. And it developed into a friendship, and he liked very much the whole family. And he came to visit us very often, and the conversations will be around what we're doing. And my children and all the people around got used to it, and my parents all were involved in this particular relationship. And yeah, we all learned a lot from him, and he saw it as another home. So he used to come on most weekends and sometimes during the week. And as you can see, my daughter is now doing this, and my son also is very acquainted with all this work. And as he wrote in his sayings, I gazed and I looked, and I was fascinated until today.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so Moshe had a big impact on you, and he trained you, and it was a very close relationship. And I've worked with a lot of Feldenkrais teachers, and I have to say that you have a very unique way of approaching the work. And I'd like to know why that is, and how is it different to the other Feldenkrais trainers that are out there today?
Well, look, I don't know how the others are, actually, most of them. But I think one of the reasons is that it was in his lifetime like 15 years where he spent not as a great international teacher, but as modest, so to speak, even though he was well known and highly respected. But he did his work mostly in Israel. Although he was known by many thinking and new thinkers from all over the world, and they came to see him in Israel, and occasionally he went to give lectures overseas, but most of the time he worked in Israel. And he was young, and he didn't have so many responsibilities, and he did what he liked. And as a matter of fact, he was full of fun. He used to come into a room and bring fun with him because he loved challenging people. He loved showing his work. He was a very unique personality. And he used to look at my children and drag them as examples. And he used to take my friends and show them how he thinks they should play basketball. And he was full of fun. So afterwards, when he started teaching in America, and he never taught before, in 75, we came to America to present this work when Thomas Hanna invited us. And by that time, it was a serious learning thing. So he felt the responsibility, I think, and the pupils felt the pupil-teacher relationship. And he projected a different spirit because for the so many people that came to study, he was less free to make fun and to do all the things that he felt free to do with us, I suppose, for so many years. Still was many years. So I think that people took from him the teaching too seriously or something. I don't know. They didn't relate to the fun of it so much.
But how did that materialize in terms of, are you saying that the teachings was different when he taught you in Israel compared to the teachings that he taught in the United States? Because your teaching is very different from the other Feldenkrais teachers. It really is.
It is, because I teach what he taught me. So he never taught me to be so heavy. So yeah, he taught me, as a matter of fact, if you look at our work, really, it is how to improve your life, the quality of your life, not so much the seriousness of your life as the quality of your life. And the first book that I helped him to write it, we ever wrote together, if you translate the title of it into English, it would mean refining your abilities or potentials, refining it.
Improving it.
Not improving it, but more refining it, improving it too. And they translated it into English, but they called it awareness through movement, which is a different idea. It's a good idea, but it's another point of it. And that refinement can actually come by doing what you do. Doing what you do, you don't have to find out to climb the wall immediately, but you can, I don't know, you can sit on a chair, but can you sit better? You can be a carpenter and make a table, but can you refine it to be a little bit more beautiful? So what he enjoyed was the refining, the potential. You can high jump. He used to teach sports people. So you can high jump. Maybe you can high jump another inch. maybe. And then he went into the improving of things. And I think that when he got to be surrounded by so many people who wanted to learn, it put pressure on him also to bring results for what they wanted to know. And there was no place for so much joy. And I enjoy my work. I can tell you this because it's a pleasure. What I like is to do this thing of refining what you do. So if you find that, let's say, you can, I don't know, even a simple thing like look at the ceiling. So if you want to look a little bit further, what are you going to do? And not try to make a bridge immediately, but enjoy just looking at the ceiling and I wonder what it is and can I come back? Ah, yes, I can come back. Is there another way? So you start looking for potential alternatives of the same thing. And I think that's the joy of doing things, not the joy of going further and I must go further. Wait a minute. Are you enjoying that point where you're here? What can you do with that point? And I teach now what I think had he been alive, he would have definitely done it, which is you come to a point where you find, okay, so I turned around. This I'd like to show you anew if you want me to take an example for a moment.
Sure.
That, for instance, just simply you sitting on a chair and turn to look behind you and come back. And, you know, I did do it again, do like 2 movements. Yeah. So you can take this thing as a model or as a metaphor for what you do. So I'm asking you, do this again. Do this again. Okay, and stay there where you are and tell me, why did you start coming back now? I didn't stop you there. Why did you decide to stop at this point? Can you go a little bit further? And can you come back? Yes, and go again and notice, can you choose another point? Okay, so wait. So why are you coming back now? This point is actually your teacher. You say to yourself, oh, I cannot go further. What happens in this place? And then you stop there and you find, wonderful, that's the place where I have choices. I can maybe lower my head a little and then can I go further? Oh, yes. Yes, now I can look with my eyes to the left. Here, and I go a little bit even further. Oh, how interesting, because as I go a little bit further now, I notice that my weight shifted on the chair. So I start from the beginning and let me see, what am I doing? So come back completely. And as you turn again, notice how you shift your weight on the chair. Oh, suddenly you can see a little bit better. But you stop there and you say, oh, what am I doing with my left shoulder? Can I take my left shoulder forward and back a little, a few times? Left shoulder, yes, yes. And now can I take it back and see if I can turn the head and the shoulder together? A little, that's it. Oh, and that also affected how I shifted my weight on my on my chair, on the chair. And now I can come back. And now if I came back, what did I do? And how far did I go? And then you become aware also of the left shoulder. So you can go forever in this and always get the movement, never mind further. Further we always try to get, but a bigger pleasure. So notice that as you go, you can turn again to the left, and take your right shoulder forward. Why not use it? And backward, and backward. That shoulder is very alive. So why doesn't it do nice things for you? So, and now take that shoulder forward, and take the left shoulder backward. And suddenly you move even a little further. And now turn just the shoulders and not the head. But you're turning your head. There you are. So you differentiate all the different parts of Siddhartha. But you're blocking yourself. You can look at where you are now and take both shoulders much further forward and much further backward. Not the head, not the head. Then not, there you are, even more. Go, do this quickly and lightly. And does it feel good? Not bad. Now you can lift the shoulders and turn the head left and right like this. You can go further with this. But the only trouble is that you're not enjoying it. So you're holding your mouth tight and your teeth together. So a little bit open your jaw. There you are. Differentiate the upper teeth from the lower teeth. Oh, look how far you go now. And you actually didn't even try it. And can you remember the shifting of the weight? There you are. And if you put your hands on your knees by any chance, then notice what happens with the knees. As you turn to your left, one knee moves forward and another backward. So with that, can you easily do it? That's nice. You actually can do much better, but that's very nice. So now sit forward. And just if you will want to remember, where did you look to when you looked before? And turn to that place. When you started. No, when you started. Yes, about that. And notice how far can you go now, and notice, is it easier? Is it more difficult? There you are. And how, that's lovely. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels like I'm using more of myself to get there.
Exactly. And that is, the more you use of yourself, the better you feel. It's like, your body is like an orchestra. You have so many instruments. Are you using all of them? And using, I don't mean forcing, like I do with training and go further and try harder. No, on the contrary. On the contrary. Just learn to listen to the tone of that particular instrument. So for instance, if you turn to look around you again, now you remember that you have, your eyes can go to the left. Just do it. Do it again. Your shoulders can go to the left. Your knees can turn to the left. And I hope you can see me over your right shoulder. You will. You will, but through, yeah, nearly. So the thing is how to use your body, but with pleasure. And look, and when you use your body with pleasure, you feel good. And this is right.
I'm thinking, I do a lot of surf kayaking and I do a lot of this movement. And I'm thinking that if I bring this into my surfing, it's going to be a lot easier.
By the way, listen to your voice now and you'll see that your breathing has changed.
Okay. How has my voice changed?
How? Do you hear a difference? I hear a difference, but still, never mind. Many things change when one thing changes, because our body, it's like throwing a pebble in a pool. Look, your two shoulders, move the right shoulder forward and back and the left shoulder forward and back. No, you're moving the whole body. Move just the shoulders. No, you're moving the body. No. Can you take your left shoulder to your left ear? That's moving a shoulder.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in that direction.
Why did you think so?
Because that's what we were doing last time.
Exactly. I didn't tell you. It's because it's your habit. How about taking the other shoulder to your ear? Feels different than the other one, huh?
Yeah.
And the left one feels like this because you've been monitoring it and becoming aware of all the possibilities it has. It can go up to the ear like you did now, but it can go forward. No, the left, only the left. There you are. It can also go backward. It can go backward. It can go more. There you are. And here is again the question, who stops you? Take it forward. Is this the limit?
Well, if I use more of myself, I can take it more forward. But you just asked me to move the shoulder and not the torso?
I did. Did I say not the torso? And that's the thing. The thing is that we understand it the way you use it. Here, you can even stay like this. Look at me in the front and move that shoulder forward and back. Just the shoulder. There and back. Further, further, further. Are you in a hurry?
No.
And of course, the first thing is don't be in a hurry. Because for learning, and this ours is not a healing program, but it's a learning method. And you want to learn how to use yourself more efficiently, easier and better. And I mean, this is forever. And I think that had Moshe been alive, he would have gone forward doing that thing that I call refinement, which is not the emergency of we can do that, of course, fix my difficulty. But look how much freer the left shoulder is than the right.
Yeah. I can feel my voice too. It sort of dropped.
That's what I think. That also was a good one. So I think that will give you an idea why I teach differently, because I really am guided by the way I learned from him. And it was really fun. If you ask Leora's here, you can ask her. Or if you ask my son, or the people who met him in my house. And this includes my husband and my parents. who all used to join in, and it was fun. And that thing, I think, is not expressed in the way they're teaching it today. It's all very serious. First of all, they're looking to be great doctors. We're not doctors, they're better doctors than us. But if we behave with integrity and use our body really like each one was as I said, even musical instrument maybe. We have so many parts, and the combination of them, of all these parts, is endless. And like this, I have something I can enjoy forever and ever. It's endless. You don't need to invent new things. The things are here, in your body, in your environment, in your mind, in your feelings. Believe me, your feelings will provide you with all directions of how to manipulate the body. So that's, maybe this answers your question.
Well, adding to that question, okay, you know, you teach this, I learn to use more of myself, I can be more free in my movement and perhaps get out of pain and so forth because of that as a side effect of moving more freely. But what about the more developmental arena or maturation, as Feldenkrais used to say? How does it work in terms of improving me as a person, developing me as a person, and reaching my potential and maturity?
I think that while, for instance, while you did this little sequence, a little bit your left side feels different than your right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now, first of all, you're lucky because you've got two sides. So do you think you can, of any part of you that feels really clearly on the right, on the left, easier than the right now?
Oh yeah, there's much more clarity of sensing and ease on the left shoulder girdle and shoulder and arm
and
compared to the right.
Turn to look to your right and compared with turn to your left.
You know, going to my right feels very alien for me just when I initiate the movement. It sort of like feels like an effort, and I want to turn to my left because it's so easy, but I will turn to my right. But it feels unknown to me at the moment. Yeah.
So look, and I didn't do anything for you. I didn't touch you, and I didn't do and manipulate you or move a vertebra and say, look, it was in the neck. Because it wasn't, it was in the brain. and that's, and one day maybe you will connect it with something else even. And maybe you'll connect it with a thought you had. Maybe you'll connect it with an experience you had. And you'll find out, is this experience mental, psychological, or physical? And then you'll find the connections in a way you've never felt before. And now you've got a teacher inside you. Your right side can teach your left. Or no, sorry, your left side can teach your right. So why can't you do the same with the right now? And like this, you can play forever.
You've definitely got me thinking. You've definitely got me thinking. Yeah, I'm trying to differentiate what your method and how it is different and embody that. And it seems like there's a lot more freedom for inquiry. And that thing of like stopping at your limit and asking questions rather than keeping going in and out of it, that's a new strategy for me. You know, to stop there, what is possible in this place without, you know, going any further, explore that and then see again, can you go further?
And you know, when you come to this place, by the way, let's say you stay somewhere in that place that you can't go further. Do it. Do it for a minute.
Am I this side?
Wherever you want.
Okay.
You know what? Do it on the other side. Let's improve.
Yeah, do it on the other side. Yeah.
Can't leave you one-sided. So you stay there. And now you think, I can't go further to the right. But actually, there are other directions I can go to. And for sure, I can go back to the left. I can go back to the left. So you always can, if you can reverse the movement, then you can always take it back to where you are. And reversing, you can, because you came from there. There you are, you'll see. Now turn your head to the left, the head, there, and turn it back. You see, now you can go a little bit more forward, or maybe up and forward, or maybe down and forward, and to the right, and down, and then go more to the right when you take it down and notice, how did this happen? And you say, I actually have a pelvis and a rib cage. There you are. Why didn't I use them before? So that's the story.
You're naughty because I'm finding it hard to ask you questions now. I just want to be in my experience.
Ask whatever you want.
Okay, so something's coming to me. So you spoke initially how the Prime Minister of Israel wanted to bring this into the school system, and obviously he failed with that idea, right?
Yeah, because when he brought it into parliament, there were opposition immediately. And the opposition actually didn't even care so much about this. But I still have his letters with the stamp of the government, where scientists, leading scientists, and thinking people recommended that this will be part of the education. But it turned into a political argument. They wouldn't vote for it, and that was the end. So all that remained is what I tell you now. Really, it's a shame, because he said it. I would like us, because Moshe worked with Ben-Gurion for a number of years. And then when I came from Japan, he said, look, why don't you take over now and you work with him? And indeed, for the last 2 years, I worked with Ben-Gurion. And at that time, he was very, well, Ben-Gurion was then about 80 years old, and Moshe taught him to stand on his head. And that became a trick that everybody loved. But the idea that this should come into the education system didn't take over. It was too new, and except some people, quite a number of people, didn't support it. And he said, because I would like us to have I believe that continuing with this method of Dr. Feldenkrais, we will have a generation healthier in body and mind. But it didn't materialize.
So what can we do? What can you do to make this materialize now? How can we bring this into the mainstream? I mean, that's part of what we're doing with this summit. We want to make this embodied idea more mainstream, and people come back to their humanness and their potential, and they're examining themselves in all sorts of ways from the inside. What can you do? What can we do to make this more available and mainstream at this point in time?
Well, first of all, I think we are doing. We are doing, for sure. And yeah, that is why I'm continuing teaching. Listen, I don't need to teach now except for pleasures. But I I enjoy what I do, and it's a pleasure to see. And you are a grown-up man, but you can do the same with babies. You can do that principle of do things with. First of all, you should enjoy what you're doing, and the ego also plays a thing, and maybe not put the ego in front before you even touch somebody. I think. So I think you're probably doing fun. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, I'm working online also, and I have my students here too, and I really love my work and spreading it. But I think we're still in a niche, and I don't feel it's gone mainstream. I mean, in normal society, you talk about somatic awareness and embodiment, and you try to have a conversation with somebody about it, and it's hard.
I think it's most important also, now that we're aware of so many ways to teach, to take the children, the school children, and to just bring it in. For instance, this first thing that I asked you, which is, there are things that you think it's impossible to teach, but that's not such a thing. For instance, raise your arm. Okay, and stay wherever you want. There. Now, why did you raise it there? And you could do a little bit further, could you? There you are. In other words, you teach a child, even a little child. You can do it if it's a really small child, you can guide with your hands. But if it is a bigger child in school, you can show them, look, you're in charge. You're responsible. So you can do it like this or like that. And if somebody dislocates its shoulder by throwing a ball, I don't know, in some way, you say, look, actually, you were in charge. And they learn. You learn from you teach them to learn from injuries. I think very important to have programs for children at school. And actually, Liora does this a lot when she has the chances. So this is very important to start with the young ones. But I'm experiencing now people near 100, and you can teach them things. You can really teach them. And it's even sometimes easier because they've had the experience before, and then they neglected it. So all you have is to reconnect them with the patterns, with the memory you want, and it works both ways. This helps the memory, and the memory helps this.
Have you pivoted to working entirely online, and are you more accessible because of that since the COVID story?
No, but I discovered the possibility, the amazing possibility of the Zoom, and the fact I used to think, how can I teach them without touching? I can, that Moshe taught the method in two ways. One is talking, which is the exercises, awareness through movement, as we call, that you make a movement and you monitor yourself while you're moving. This is the thing to teach the public. But if you'd come, let's say, and you have some difficulty somewhere, and I can, with my hands, guide your body to feel. You see, like this, it hurts you. Like this, it doesn't. Here you hold your jaw. Here you tighten your tongue. And things like that, and let go. And then you connect all these parts, and you stop holding your jaw, and you stop tightening your tongue, and you find how it affects the whole system. So when you teach like this, you can reach anybody, anywhere. And very interesting to make children aware of the tongue. Yes, why not? Of the jaw, and this sort of thing. But what was the last question?
What was the last question? No, I asked you, have you pivoted mainly online and you're accessing more people, and more people can study with you because they don't have to come and see you? Has there been a shift for you in that regard?
Yes, yes. I've got such a long list of people that want lessons now, and I'm teaching all the time, more than ever. Like on the Zoom. But I'm trying to teach people who already have the basic idea of what do we believe about moving and thinking too. Thinking and the attitude to this. The attitude to what you do. I mean, you can't have fun somewhere else and suffer as you turn your head and become so serious that you can't turn the head.
So your students, they're improving their movement and they're improving their thinking and they're improving their well-being and they're improving their emotional state, and they are growing and learning.
I think they don't need to be my students anymore. I think I want to put them on a path which they will continue forever, like I do. Just enjoy, enjoy what you can.
I think that the main message that's coming out of this from as it started and how it's ending now is that Moshe was all about the pleasure principle and enjoying life and being humorous and being light. And that's very much part of who you are and how you teach and how you would like to leave your own students with that self-capacity to find the joy of living and life and the pleasure of life and not to take things too seriously. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Mia?
No, you asked me why is the way I'm teaching different? And I say that this element would rather be there because anything that you do through suffering, you forget. You try to forget anyway. And this work has a lot of course it has a lot of seriousness, but you'll see how scientists and people who are looking for so many serious things, how it turns into, it can turn into suffering and difficult and, oh, it's hard and, oh my God, what happened to you, or things like that. While looking at, look, what can we do about it? How many choices do we have? And then you have to stop at the place and say, I'm not in a hurry, I'm going to see. This point, how many choices? And another day, it'll be another point.
You know, I'm thinking about that metaphor, not just in terms of movement, but when you hit against something in life, to take that pause and reflect and look at the different options available. And if you've got that down in your own way of movement, then maybe it'll be easier to bring that into your life in other capacities.
I think so. I think if you watch people, you'll see that those who have this element of of finding a place where to find choices, they found solutions. So that's why now I like people who know this method, not this method only. I mean, for instance, you are on a path of studying whatever you study there, I don't know, in India, but you're in a path of studying, and it's for forever. It's not only tomorrow that you'll find something about the neck and head. This same story you can find everywhere in the body. It's how to monitor yourself and know yourself. Self-knowledge, I suppose you can say.
Thank you so much, Mia, for your wise words and your giving me this experience. I'll take it with me and I'll explore it. I'm going to explore it into my life in terms of this pause and possibilities, and taking that pause and seeing the different options available to me. And
very good. And while you explore it, release your jaw and smile.
I know I have that terrible habit of tightening my lips and closing my jaw, and I'm always going, why am I doing that? And I sort of open my mouth and I smile, but you caught me there. You're absolutely right. I've got to spend more time on that.
But even that is useful.
Say again?
Even that of tightening your lips is also useful for something.
Yeah, but not all the time like the way I do it. Well, I don't do it all the time, but I do it too much. Thank you, Mia. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope I'll see you in the United States sometime soon. If not, if we're still around.
Are you suffering from the corona there?
No, we don't even talk about it. We don't move anywhere.
You don't move?
No.
Well, okay, take care.
Thank you so much, Mia. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Also. It's a pleasure seeing you. I'll wait for another year.
Okay. Thank you.
You look good. By that time, your hair will come to here.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Thank you, Mia.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.